break.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
We're trying to plug.
we're gonna call the April 30, 2026 Blair County Planning Commission meeting to order, and I'd ask everyone to stand to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Could we go ahead with first item, roll call?
Mr. Lewis? Mr. Eastep?
Here.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Delosier?
Here.
Mr. Follen?
Here.
Mrs. Luke?
Here.
Mrs. Sheets?
Here.
And we have a quorum.
Thank you.
Mr. Reese.
Mr. Reese, I was gonna say, we didn't have him on the list.
I'm
or
so
everybody else?
sorry.
Yes. Dave, that's our way of welcoming you.
Thank you.
We just want to say, welcome on the list.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Turn your nameplate around so they
Yeah.
got your here.
There we go. I'll have to do the same thing. Good advice.
All right.
But welcome and thank you again for volunteering your service.
Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now, let's move on to approval of the minutes. The meeting minutes were sent out to everyone for the March 26, 2026 meeting for consideration. Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, and a second. We have a motion to approve and seconded for the March 2026 meeting minutes. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll open up our meeting for the public comment period, and public comment will be received at this time on all matters not appearing elsewhere on the agenda. And public comments regarding specific development applications or agenda items will be taken when those items come up for consideration. So with that, do we have anyone for comment this morning?
Yeah, the City of Altoona and the Redevelopment Authority of Altoona are planning a subdivision, a lot merger actually, of the old ice fit facility along Chestnut Avenue. There's two small quarter-acre lots in behind, but you're just adding on to that to create a 5-acre lot. It's a simple lot merger.
Thank you.
So this was submitted late, and this would be a consent agenda item typically. So this will go on this will be on the next consent agenda that's received via email. However, this will be on their meeting agenda for next week. So they wanted to bring it to our meeting for any comment or if there's any questions or anything like that.
Fine. I don't know if anyone has any questions or.
So that would be a minor review for us.
Yeah, you'll receive it via email on a consent agenda, and assuming there's no major issues with the subdivision or the lot merge, we'll send the letter to them same time.
Could you state your name, please?
Jeff Dowdy, I'm with the Eads Group.
Thank you.
Thank you. Additional comments? Anyone else? Okay. We'll close that for this time period. Our next item typically is a county commissioner liaison. Commissioner Webster is not here this morning, so we'll take a pass on that item at this time. We were going to go into an executive session, but before we do that, Mackenzie, it's been suggested to me that maybe we should have, if we have consultants here this morning who are specifically here to either present or comment, we should allow them to do that first. We don't want to hold them up, so maybe we could move ahead with those items on the development applications. Would that sound okay?
Sure.
All right.
I mean, I know we have the engineers and
Yes, so why don't we move ahead with those items? I don't want to hold, our executive session can't predict the length of time. We are going to come back from the executive session to conduct business. I know Walt was getting ready to ask that question, so.
I came prepared, brought a magazine.
Okay. Okay. But we'll just make a minor adjustment if that's okay. So I'm gonna turn it over to you then at this time.
Absolutely. I will turn it over to Tom from Stewart Group. He's our consultant that reviews the land development applications. And yeah, if you want to do 5 through
Sure.
8 or 5 through 7,
Yep,
5, 6, and
certainly.
7. Thank you, Tom.
Good morning, my name is Tom Gisson. I'm a planner with Stewart Consulting. This application here is for a building addition. Let me grab my pointer here. Thank you. Located right here. It's at 3714 Beale Avenue, west side of Beale Avenue, between 37th and 38th Street. I'll get into this in more detail in a minute, but this property is a commercial property. It is located in a residential district, but apparently has been for quite some time. It involves an expansion of the building in order to provide storage. Per the applicant's narrative, it's storage for an existing tenant, which is fine. Just to understand, when you provide storage, it isn't guaranteed that it will be forever for an existing tenant unless that's put in as a condition of approval that it's purely an accessory use to that. But it is a storage that is being added to the property. Directly across the street is the zoning is industrial. And in fact, you may well, you probably wouldn't from this, but this site was viewed last month. It was part of the but in any case, it was a small canopy addition. This is very industrial in this area. This is residential, a daycare center here, but this property is used for commercial use, apparently has been for a while, and received a waiver or a variance from the zoning hearing board in Altoona to permit the expansion of this use, a commercial use in a residential district, and also for the addition of a driveway, which I'll get to in a moment. Oh, the space bar, thank you. This is more detail on the site itself. The property is just over half an acre. The addition will be approximately 1,400 square feet, and it's an addition off the existing building. Just so you know, Beale Avenue is down here. The alley is up here. This is the existing building. There is some parking, can't really see it very well in here, associated with this driveway, and then there is existing head-in parking off of the alley. So there is a driveway here. There's a parking area off the alley, and in addition to the addition itself, they are proposing a new driveway. And this area, by the look of the plan, we did not receive elevations, but it appears, from what I'm looking at it, that there's an overhead door here to accommodate the storage. So my sense is that, and the applicant can speak to this, is that this driveway would be primarily serving the storage area, whereas this is sort of the more office business address. Did I cover everything there? Yep. This is the location of the property here. The property is zoned RA, Residential Neighborhood 1. It's on the east side of Beale Avenue. I'm sorry, the east side is zoned IF. It's on the west side of Beale Avenue, Industrial Flex. And I think maybe I'll jump into, how did I get this thing out of there, by the way? Okay, thank you. This is something new with this meeting, at least for me. We are going to go to the Google Earth here and do it on here. Okay. The site you are seeing is right here. This is the office. This is where the daycare center is. But as you see, it's primarily residential here. There's a lot of industrial up and down here. Often you will see with zoning, they tend to split the lot, they split the zoning along backyard lines so that you don't have the situation that you have here. Now, in cities, it's more common because you have to do it where you do it rather than having a jagged line. But what it amounts to is that, let's see, where did that come from? Do you see where that went to? Oh, I just click it here.
You drag it. Oh, perfect.
Oh, okay.
You got it.
I'll do it here. This is the building here. It resembles more of a single-family home use. That's the driveway and parking in the front. There is a shed and a concrete pad here. Not quite sure exactly what it is. The property was used for at any time. It's not really clear. It's not really evident. It's not really germane. And these would be removed in order to accommodate the new parking area. But if I can, let's see if I can pull out here. You can see across the street, it is very much has the feeling of industrial warehouse type of use. It is an old industrial use. Back to, here we go. And that just shows the zoning line there. So the applicant has stated that their plan differs slightly from the plan that was sent to the zoning hearing board for the two waivers, variances that they received. One, extension of a non-conforming building, and two, for the second driveway onto Beale Street, which is a primary street. So they've received those necessary waivers. Quick question or just comment for the city of Altoona, and this is in my report, is that while it's not uncommon for a minor differences to the plan to occur during this kind of a process, the city should determine whether, and it's kind of a judgment call, whether the difference is so great that they should return to the zoning hearing board. I doubt it is, but I just want to point that out. So. Oh, okay, I'll just go here. Oh, yes. Okay. Our comments, sort of the usual disclaimer a little bit in the beginning. Our review is based upon the submitted narrative and the land development plan. I did do some research on Google and whatnot, but that's basically, that is the limit of our review. There is the erosion control plan details, note sheets E1 and E2 should be forwarded to the Blair County Conservation District. The grading plan, which affects stormwater, also includes a rain garden for capturing rain associated with the addition, roof rainwater and whatnot. Let's see, I don't know how to do it here. Sorry, working with this new item. The plans we received are very detailed. They cover a lot of information. We do note and think it would be helpful, not a reason to hold it up, but a comment would be to have architectural elevations and materials identified on the plan, especially given that this is an expansion of a non-conforming use within a residential district. Those items were not included. The dimensions of the existing and proposed structures were not shown on the plans we received in any case. And the parking areas that are visible, there is a parking requirement. They've identified that they have a certain number of parking spaces. We think that it's always helpful if you can actually see the parking spaces on the plan, so you can determine when you're doing your review, does it meet the requirements. I'm not suggesting it doesn't, but that would be useful to have, including any ADA required parking. Oops, no. Comprehensive plan, the Alleghenies Ahead comprehensive plan doesn't really specifically address a small addition like this, but the plan is generally consistent with the comprehensive plan. It's in that the plan is supportive, I'll just read this, supportive of reasonable business investment and expansion. We therefore find the proposal consistent with the comprehensive plan. Subject to the comments above and in the report, and submission of the plan to the Blair County Conservation District, we recommend approval of the plan.
Thank you, Tom. Before we entertain a motion, any questions or comments?
Is the engineer here for this project?
Yes. Do you have any comment on the, I've reviewed plans from you guys before, you addressed the handicap parking?
It's existing in front of the building, the steps are very faded, and it's in front of the building.
So it's compliant.
I don't know that for sure.
I believe that, if I may, and correct me if I'm wrong, it also exists on the alley, there are a large number of spaces.
I don't believe there's any handicap parking back
Oh, no, I'm
But
sorry.
there is
I was
parking
speaking in
back there,
general about the number of
and they
spaces.
are on striped as well.
Okay, oh, they are, okay, I couldn't say that, so, yeah, that's fine.
And just to clarify, the minor difference that was mentioned in the plan from the zoning hearing plan had to do with the driveway and the arrangement of the driveway. The zoning plan showed more of a straight driveway. We had to move it and put an arc in it to lengthen the driveway to lessen the slope. It had nothing to do with the two zoning issues that were presented. It was with the driveway arrangement itself. And we did submit architectural elevation drawings to the city.
Any other questions or comments?
Just as a general comment, we receive, there are many plans and documents that the city receives. They determine what to send to us, so we certainly don't see on any application everything that the city had. So we comment when it's appropriate, but it may be that it's addressed there in any case, and I don't doubt that it is in this case.
All right.
Will this review be on the agenda for the City Planning Commission next Tuesday?
No, this qualifies as their new minor land development process, which is staff level review of the city staff only. There were no waivers from the SALDO, so it does not go to the planning commission. It stays at staff level review, which we just received yesterday afternoon. A few minor comments, stop sign, the driveway, depressed curb detail at the driveway entrance. Very minor things like that. Get the plan signed, get the erosion control approval.
The elevation's the same character as the original building?
Yes.
I noticed that the agenda has the name as PSN, but of course yours has, I'm sorry, but it also up there says City of Altoona PNC. Is that a typo, or are there two different names related to?
That's a typo. I
Okay,
apologize.
so it's supposed to be PSN, I assume, because it's
Yes.
on the engineer's drawing. Okay, thanks.
We'll have a motion. We'll have a motion for approval, we have a second, and we have a second, Dawn. All right. Motion been properly made and seconded to approve item number 5, PSN LLC Building Addition. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, okay, very good. The next application that we reviewed is the Railroaders Memorial Museum. It's an addition to the museum. I'm just going to go over it in very big picture. They're proposing to add on to the roundhouse a classroom that will be, that the proposal is to house part of Penn State Altoona's railroad engineering program, which is obviously a natural fit with all of the cars and other materials they have. It would include a classroom, a lab, locker room / bathrooms, and a mechanical room. It is located northwest of 9th Avenue, which is, thank you. 9th Avenue is here. The railroad tracks are here. That's the Pittsburgh line, and then 10th Avenue just to the other side of it. There is a pedestrian bridge, I don't know how long it's been there, but for quite a while, that from this point goes up and over to this side where it appears the railroad station is. And this location, the other direction, this is 12th Street, this is 13th, which is why we say roughly between, and then this is 14th Street. I believe it's 12th and 13th on this side. This Railroads Memorial Museum is the applicant. It's a minor site plan, a 2,651 square foot addition. I mentioned Penn State Altoona. Just from my markings here on the plan, this is a plan that has, I'll get to it in a moment. This site is very historical. It's part of a much larger rail yard that, based on what I read on Wikipedia or somewhere, was at one time for a short while was the largest rail yard in the country and may have extended 3 miles. So this is a little part of that. This building down here is the current museum building. I believe it was a mechanics building at one time. This parking area has been here for a long time. Striping may have changed, but the parking area has been there. The former museum was located here in this location. I'm not sure when, I don't know when it was moved from here to here. The point is that there is a lot of historical use, a lot of uses that may have vesting in terms of their rights, in terms of even if they don't comply with current zoning. I'm not saying they don't, but if they did, they would be vested over time from later amendments to the plans, given how old this goes back to the original goes back, I think, to the mid-1800s. As I mentioned before, this is located here. This is, I probably should have gone back. Well, this is the classroom, locker rooms, laboratory and mechanical rooms. This is the vesting of zoning requirements. I couldn't go back, obviously, to the 1850s, but here you can see an area that's much more of a rail yard. Sorry, this is... Anyway, this is the site, and even early on, you can see this museum building in 1993. They used to store some cars here. Over time, they added a small piece of the roundhouse, and added tracks for the trains in there. And this is the mechanics building. By 2015, they had expanded the roundhouse. And they had made changes in this area. I think there have been lots and lots of changes, and even in this area, I think to rebuild and provide a stage in that location. So the amount of, and there were additional lawn areas. My assumption, and based on a brief discussion with the architect, is that more changes will be coming in the future. It's typical of such a use and always under consideration, but not fully developed. Again, the review is based on the narrative and plan set. Section 640-30 of the code enumerates information and notes that are supposed to be required to be included on the land development plans. The plan set we received is missing a large amount of this information. So we would recommend pointing that out to the city of Altoona if they haven't already. We don't always know why they've sent us a plan at a certain point. They could be sending it to us at various points. This resembles more of a sketch plan because of the missing information, although I think the locations of everything is accurate. There are a number of items that we think are important. The plans do not include topography, and they don't include any grading. Now, the site is a pretty flat site, but we recommend that that be added to the site because you have sidewalks here, I believe you were all sent the plan, so these little blobs don't quite do it justice. But here is the classroom. There's a sidewalk or walkway, and it goes up to here. One entrance here for the classroom and other things, and one entrance here to the mechanical room, and I believe it has access to the locker rooms as well. But we don't see the grading, so we don't know curbs, we don't know a lot of other information. Additionally, they are putting in a rock area for drainage, dug down, lots of rock for infiltration. It represents 1 cubic foot of rock area to 1 square foot of added impervious coverage. So it's, you know, it's not unreasonable. These things are also somewhat grandfathered. But grading would also be helpful because there's a plan, you take the roof drains or the drains in this area, you run it to here, and then it has to be in this location. And it's just good always to see the piping, the slope, the elevation, whatnot, to make sure the thing is going to work as it should. For instance, if it were at a lower grade, it might be that it never filled up because it backed up in the pipe. So that's just one of the pieces of information that we feel is important, in addition to the other minor, or I shouldn't say minor, but technical items that are supposed to be included on the plan. The applicant is not proposing any additional parking. There is this lot, or this area, it has been there for a long time, prior to the roundhouse, prior to other uses. It has bus parking and it has car parking. There is parking in the surrounding area. And again, there may be no requirement for the other uses because it may be vested from the fact that these uses came into play before the zoning was adopted. But we suggest the applicant discuss this, I guess, with the city of Altoona would be the appropriate person, because if you don't have a requirement, it's still, from a planning perspective, it's often helpful to at least survey and see how much parking you get at maximum events, such as when the stage is there. Are you adding to it? Are the stage events going to be at different times when the classroom is not in use and the likes? Again, it's not a reason to deny the application, we don't feel, but it is something that would require the more in-depth review, or we recommend a more in-depth review that the city does than that our somewhat high-level review. And we find the proposed development to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. You have a museum here, a very important part of the community. You have the Penn State's railroad engineering program, and you have the comprehensive plan addresses business and workforce development, and it identifies it as one of the area's 8 critical issues. And certainly the proposed use, a small college-level educational facility attached to a nonprofit facility, but that helps educate people, might help them keep them in the area, help with various things, is certainly consistent with the comprehensive plan. Again, subject to submission to the Blair County Conservation District, and the comments that we've suggested for the city. We recommend approval of the site plan.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or questions prior to entertaining a motion? If not, ask for a motion for approval.
I will.
Okay. We have a motion properly made. Do we have one second?
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion properly made and seconded to approve item number 6, the Altoona Railroad Museum Roundhouse Building. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I must recuse myself. The Railroaders Museum is a current client.
Okay, thank you, Pete. Okay.
Can I add a comment?
Yes, please.
I really think that that's good that Penn State, with everything's going on with Penn State, I really think that's good for the area and how Penn State, the impression of what they have downtown Altoona now. I really think that's a good thing that they're doing. There's not too many colleges probably have that program.
I agree, and I'm sure they're going to come up with some other uses too. So
Yeah,
that's
that's good.
a great addition. Thank you for your comment. All right, next, Tom.
Thank you. The next application is the City of Altoona's redevelopment, or the Redevelopment Authority, Altoona Redevelopment Authority, and it's a proposal to place a 4-lot subdivision onto the old site of the Garfield School, which was demolished a number of years ago. It looked like lawn at one time. It's now a little bit overgrown and whatnot, but it's to provide a 4-lot subdivision that would be, the lots are all larger than required under the zoning. And the property is located at 2014th Street. We've got, oops, oh no, I have to do it here. No, I'm gonna, oh yeah, that's probably a good idea. So, where do I do that? Escape again? Okay, thank you. I appreciate the assistance the first time we're using this. Here you can see, zoom in a little bit. Oh, I was wondering why, because I didn't see it blurring myself. In essence, though, I'll just go through this real quickly. There is an alleyway that is here. You'll see when it fully loads. You have street frontage here, and you have street frontage here. The property extends to roughly here. From the alley, cuts off here, goes here and here. There are utilities in the street, gas, water, sanitary sewage, and there is electricity in the alley. This is an infill site within a city location. What? Yeah. And I'll just pull it, maybe I'll just pull it out a little bit so that you can get a better sense of how it sits within the city of Altoona. And the location, specifically 2014th Avenue, west corner, because they're at a diagonal, west corner of 20th Street and 14th Avenue. It's an R&B zone, R&B, residential neighborhood B zone. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Okay. Again, this is just an overview of it, and this over here, is it large? No. This is the site is in its current state. It's a little blurry again, probably a downloading issue. But in any case, the property extends from here to here to here to here. And per the applicant's narrative, this property, when it's fully developed with I should mention it's 4-lot subdivision with 3 lots, with single-family homes proposed for 3 of the 4 lots. The 4th lot is not, a use for the 4th lot is not identified. But in any case, it's a 20% reduction per the applicant's statements in runoff, which makes perfect sense, at least 20%, relative to a school which has parking and buildings and playgrounds and whatnot on it. This is a closer in look at the submitted plan for the subdivision. Each home is shown with a driveway, a deck, a walkway. I think each one has a walkway. This one does not. This lot gets its access through the alley, which is perfectly acceptable. It is what is often referred to as a flag lot, and it appears that this is being provided simply to meet a frontage requirement of the zoning. And this is the unidentified future lot. It is a lot that would have difficulty being developed short of having, for instance, let's say an easement across this property to get a driveway in, because there is a stone wall in this area that rises up quite a bit. So the street is going down here, but the lot is relatively flat. It goes back to the flattening for the school, which limits access into this lot unless you were to do it via a vehicular driveway easement across another lot. The future use of this is not identified. It's a larger lot than required for building, so it's not a huge concern. There are the improvements on the site, in addition to driveways and the buildings and any walkways, would be laterals, utility laterals coming in off of the utilities onto the site. There would be some cases where, for instance, particularly with this lot, where there will have to be private utility easements, probably three-party easements, the utility, this property owner, and the easement in favor of this property owner, so that they can get the existing utilities in this location to the site. Oops. I'm going to go to just do here, escape again, escape, and I'm just going to go here. And let's see here. Just to clarify one item. This is the site, and what I wanted to just show here was the stone wall that goes up. The stone wall that goes here and here. This is what makes this site relatively inaccessible to a driveway and whatnot. You would either have to use the easement, or I don't think you have enough run to get the driveway in, so you'd have to cut this whole block down, build retaining walls around the side of it, and that is probably not financially feasible. It wouldn't pencil to build a home there, basically, because of the site costs. I just wanted to point that out. Again, escape. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Yep, I got it. Yep. Standard are reviews based on the narrative and the development plan that was submitted to the county. They're very detailed plans. They include a lot of information on them. The one thing that is not shown on these plans, it very likely is shown somewhere else, but would be the area of each lot. It's just helpful to know. I have no concerns about it not conforming to the zoning, since the size of the lots theoretically would allow, taking out for something would allow like 10 lots to be built on that, given the minimum square footage required in this zoning district. It would be nice to know if the fourth lot, I mentioned that it was constrained. It'd be nice to know if they had an idea, but I also understand that they may not yet know what they want to do with it. Maybe it's a pocket park, which would be much easier. It's a redevelopment authority. It's not required per se. The erosion and sediment control details and notes have been included in the plan set and should be forwarded to Blair County Conservation Commission. Oh no, sorry. Sorry, this is the first time I've had it with this item. The comprehensive plan, again, it's a small subdivision. It's not necessarily directly addressed in the comprehensive plan, but infill residential development of residentially zoned properties to create new housing opportunities is consistent with the comprehensive plan. And it is discussed in critical issues, discussions of housing and blight. Not that this is a blighted area or that it would be, but that the idea that you can fill in here, create something that's consistent with the neighborhood and not let it become overgrown or whatever. So it is generally consistent with the comprehensive plan. Oops. Subject to the comments above, and submission to the Blair County Conservation District. We recommend approval of the plan.
Questions or comments?
I do have one. It'd be nice I mean, I know it's not required, but the fourth lot, whether the city's gonna try to keep that, or if they should include it on, because I don't know if the city wants to have a lot there that they have to maintain unless they could do something with it. It would be my only question on that.
The rationale behind keeping that fourth lot unoccupied is that there's a large retaining wall, and the redevelopment authority will maintain ownership of that to mitigate any liability given the age of the wall. So we'll just maintain that so that when these homes are sold, that does not transfer, the liability does not transfer to the new home ownership.
I really think it's a good project, and I've talked to you about it before, whatever, but it'd just be, as long as the city's prepared to maintain the lot.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Are you guys okay with the comments? So we're at it on that. Do you have any issue with the comments?
No issues. One clarification on the fourth lot for access. It'll turn into another flag lot. Access from the alley will be provided to that fourth lot.
Okay, so that lot lines will change a little bit.
Slightly, yes.
Yeah,
It'll
okay.
It'll be similar to the other lot that's a flag lot. Basically, you have two flag lots on that side to provide access.
Okay, great, thank you.
Good questions. Anything else?
Motion for approval.
We have a motion properly made for approval. We have a second. We have a second. We have a motion properly made and seconded to approve item number 7, Altoona Redevelopment Authority Garfield School Property Development. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
I must recruit myself as I am an employee of the Eads Group.
And I apologize for the little bit of getting used to this setup. I think it's a great setup that Mackenzie put in there where we can jump right into the Google Earth and gives the board additional information that isn't available via plan. But it's been a little bit, this is my first time doing it.
Thank you, Tom. No,
Thank you.
no apologies needed. Thank you very much. All right.
Mr.
let's move it.
Chairman, I just need to let you know that I have to go because it's time to get back to the courthouse for a commissioner meeting, but thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody, for your attendance, and see you next month.
See you.
All right, we're going to move ahead with the staff level reviews at this point.
Thank you.
Sorry. So number 8 on your agenda are the staff level subdivision and land development reviews. These were sent out to you via email earlier this month. These are typically minor reviews that don't rise to the level of being reviewed at our meeting in detail the way that the other ones that were just reviewed by Tom would be. So if anybody has any questions on any of these ones here, let me know. Like I said, these all went out earlier this month, I believe the second week of April, for your comment. Any questions? Motion.
A motion to approve.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if you had anything else to add.
Oh, I was waiting for
Okay,
any
my
questions.
apologies.
No, that's okay.
I'm looking at the minutes from the last meeting. We do need approval for that, so I apologize.
That's okay.
So we have a motion properly made for approval. Do we have a second for the staff level reviews?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion properly made and seconded for, again, item number 8, all the staff level reviews. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. And then we'll move ahead to the Metropolitan Clearinghouse
Yes.
items also.
Same thing with number 9 on your agenda. These were items that were sent to us usually for grant consistency. or permit requests, usually to DEP. In this case, it was for in-stream habitats, for a Chapter 105 permit and an air quality permit renewal. But again, these are sent out to you earlier in the month on a consent agenda for your comment, but these are just standard letters of consistency. We also sent out letters of support this month for the county's application to the C2P2 program, the Community Conservation Partnership Program for Southern Alleghenies, and Western PA Conservancy to update the National Heritage Inventory. That's super important to us here because that is essentially how we create all of our maps. So if something is in an area that has threatened wildlife or species, this is how we know all of those things. So it's really, really important to keep that up to date. So we wrote a letter of support for that grant. For the Altoona Water Authority, we also wrote a letter of support for their Greenways, Trails, and Recreation Grant Program for a mountain bike trail project. Blair Township for their same grant for the Mountain Home Community Park. Frankstown Township for the Community Conservation Partnership Program as well, for the Frankstown Township Memorial Park for the phase 2 of their park project. Any questions on number 9?
If not, do we have a motion to approve all items under staff level reviews number 9?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. We have a motion properly made, second. And have properly second. We have a motion properly made and second to approve staff level reviews as well as letters of support under item number 9, Metropolitan Clearinghouse. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Let's do item number 10, and I will tell you after that we are going to break for an executive session at that point. So, item 10.
So item 10 is the submission on April 2nd for the $250,000 grant application for Frankstown Township's Memorial Park Phase 2. That coincides with the item above there. This will be their Phase 2 project. 2023 we had Phase 1 approved. So we're moving on to Phase 2. That will be a paired application with DCED for an overall project cost of a little bit over $506,000. So, Steve, do you have any comments on that?
No, so we submitted for an LSA grant to DCED and the DCNR. Sherry's been invaluable in this process for us. But I appreciate the support. Looking forward to it. Probably when it's all said and done, it'll be another $1 million project. It's really going to. It's going to be an all-inclusive, ADA compliant, accessible. For people with intellectual and physical disabilities. It's going to be the premier location in the county for that type of recreation. So thank you.
I don't think we need
We don't
any
need-
action on that.
Just
That's
an
just an
update, so I
update.
don't think we need any approval on that point.
Mr. Secretary, I do have a question for
Yes.
staff. Did we get any feedback on the action we took last month on the Matter Woods subdivision? Basically, there was
Question about the
rejected
stormwater.
because it did not.
Yeah.
In the staff's opinion, did not comply with the comprehensive plan, but there is a lot of materials that were deficient. Was any of that submitted?
So the materials were not deficient. What was provided for us was submitted to our consultant for review. They just did not review it because the stormwater plan was not within the purview of their review. So he misspoke and said that he did not receive the plan, which did cause some issues with the developer. So we have been in touch to patch that up and make right there. But I'm not sure what Blair Township reviewed it. They tabled their review pending additional information as well on the Mattern Woods subdivision. I believe they're planning to work with Hollidaysburg Borough with their stormwater or with their water and sewer authority or water authority in order to address the concerns that were raised about stormwater for the site.
What about the issues raised about compliance with the comprehensive plan?
about it not being, that's why it wasn't consistent. It wasn't consistent because Hollidaysburg wasn't involved in the planning process. So by getting them involved in the planning process, it would make it consistent with the comprehensive plan.
Okay, so that it may come back to the planning commission.
I don't believe so, no. They're not required to resubmit it to us.
That was my question. Is it coming back to us? Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, at this time, we're going to dismiss and go into an executive order. We do plan to come back and reconvene the meeting for the rest of the agenda items.
Sunshine law requires you to state the purpose of the
It's a
executive session.
personnel and legal matter.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, we are going to reconvene, coming back, and again, we met in executive session to discuss personnel and legal items. So let's move on to item 11, old business, under administrative items.
Yeah, so number 11 on your agenda is something that this was tabled from our February meeting. So this is something that we are revisiting now that we have a new board to see if this is something that you are interested in. This is something that was presented, I believe, by Dave in February. And this is the slide that he had up. Regarding the development review delegation, essentially what was explained earlier for the city of Altoona, delegating their smaller or mid-size reviews to staff level is essentially what Dave was proposing for us in the event that we do not have a quorum and we miss a meeting. And I don't see this as still being a relevant thing for us to be exploring, since we, I believe later on the agenda, I'll address it, but given our relationship with Stewart Group and potentially pulling back on some of those duties, I don't think that this is the right time to delegate development reviews to being entirely staff level. I think they need to come to the meeting for input, and also because, once again, the County Planning Commission meeting is sometimes the only forum for some of these reviews to be discussed.
So the question is, the item was tabled, and unless there's a motion to reintroduce it at this point, which the recommendation is, let's hold on that. Does anyone
I don't understand.
want to entertain a motion or not? No?
I don't understand.
Yeah.
Does not the staff do reviews now?
Yes, we do the low-level development reviews that go out on consent agenda. This would be for delegating all development reviews to be done in-house so that we would no longer be reviewing development reviews at the meeting, similar to how the city of Altoona recently moved forward with their change. So again, because the county meeting is often the only meeting that most of these developments get publicly aired at, I would say that this is, again, probably not the right time to move forward with making all development reviews staff level. That doesn't make sense to me personally, but if that's something that...
I personally don't think it's a matter of business either way, as in fact we're reviewing the whole
Procedures.
the whole way that the Planning Commission conducts business, what staff are available, and what our capabilities are, and what needs we have for an outside consultant. So I'd say that we take no action on this until the new board gets an opportunity to work with the staff and understand exactly what the commitment of time and the extent of the reviews are going to be. Now, quite frankly, as you said at the last meeting, the responsibility of the county planning commissioner is simply to determine if a development is in accordance with the comprehensive plan. A lot of the stuff that's reviewed, and we did that today and we did that last month, is things that are not necessarily even part of the comprehensive plan. So not sure why we're reviewing them when, since I sit on the City of Altoona Planning Commission, that's done at the county level. So are we doing redundant work or not? That's a question we have that we're gonna need to pursue. So I think there's no action to be taken on this matter.
Just an item that needs more discussion
Right.
in general. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. So let's move on then to new business. The first item under new business, in item number 12, is the resignation. And we have a letter requesting approval or motion for accepting strategic planner Sherry Sochi resignation effective April 30, 2026.
I regretfully move to accept her resignation with many tears.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it. I'll second it.
Okay. Do we have any additional comments prior to taking a vote? Other than, again, add to regretfully, and certainly, again, have appreciated all your contributions and service.
Thank you. It's been our pleasure working with Blair County.
So with that motion properly made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Okay, item 13, board authorization to allow the acting planning director to conduct business on behalf of the Blair Planning Commission Board. And let me add to this, this was added because we were getting, I'll use an example, some requests, like we have interaction with our accounting firm, and there are questions at times on not just signatories, but just on how some of the timesheets and items are submitted. And wanted to make it clear that the acting director at that time, Mackenzie, had support. So that person on the other end goes, oh, you're authorized to have these conversations with me. And that's essentially whether, who the acting planning director, that authorization's there. So
Motion.
I have a motion to approve that. A second?
Second.
Okay, second. We have a motion properly made and seconded to authorize the acting planning director to conduct business on behalf of the Blair Planning Commission Board. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Stormwater Management Plan. Again, authorization for acting director Mackenzie Caron to request a extension from DCED for the Stormwater Management Plan. And Mackenzie, you want to just add some information to that?
Yeah, so essentially when we started looking at some of the commitments that had been made previously, and some of the planning work that should have been done previously, from what we understand, our phase 2 budget for the Act 167 plan runs out at the end of 2026. Because we are just seeing it for the first time, we as in us staff are just seeing this plan and just getting the opportunity to do anything with it for the very first time. We are requesting permission to reach out for an extension on that phase 2 so that we don't face the same thing that we faced or are facing currently with hazard mitigation.
And one correction, it's DEP that we are requesting that extension from, not DCED. That was a typo on our side.
That grant technically doesn't, it's extended and doesn't expire till 11/1 of 29. For that grant, for the Act 167.
For the period of work, yeah.
And we're in 2026.
Yeah.
It's
So
3 years out.
Phase 2 has to be expended by the end of 2026, I thought. So that's why we were requesting the extension.
because phase 1 was already 2 years.
Yeah, phase
There
1 was 2
nothing-
years ago.
There was nothing that there was nothing that was requested as reimbursement for the costs that were incurred during that time.
Yeah, we already lost out on a $30,000 reimbursement for phase 1 because we can't submit for that work that was never rendered. So we're trying to prevent losing what we have for phase 2.
And
Make a motion to give the acting director authority to seek a extension if needed from DEP.
we have a motion properly made. Second, we have a motion properly made and seconded to, again, give approval for communication and request with DCED for the extension of stormwater management plan timeline. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item 15, liability insurance. This is a motion for approval of the purchase of directors and officers liability insurance for an amount not to exceed $2,000 annual premium. Let me add to that we have been obtaining quotes on that. And I asked the solicitor again, maybe just give a quick explanation of why we feel this is necessary to add this.
Yeah, it's a layer of protection that covers the commission and its members for any official actions that you take that might give rise to a claim of liability.
Okay. And it's something that's in place in many other organizations. It's something we feel we need to add to this. Okay.
So moved.
So moved. Okay, we have a motion properly made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, and second. We have a motion properly made and seconded to add the liability insurance and approve at an amount not to exceed $2,000 in annual premium. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And now we have the acting planner director report.
Yeah, so I just want to give an update on hazard mitigation. I think the last update I gave you last month was that the plan had been submitted and that we had heard back from PEMA and gotten feedback and made corrections based on PEMA's feedback. We were waiting on FEMA, who was at the time not receiving any funding, so they weren't able to move forward with any work. As of the end of last week, I think it was April 24th, we heard from FEMA and they received our plan, reviewed our plan, and gave us 10 points of feedback to correct, which Stewart Group is working to complete. I believe they are hoping to have it submitted. They said by the end of April, but that's today, so I don't know if they're going to be submitting it to PEMA by the end of this week. But it is in the process of being corrected for its final rendition. Now that we have received that feedback from FEMA, we can give it our final edits, send it in for APA, approval pending adoption. So that's my update on hazard mitigation. Any questions on that? Something that we had talked about earlier in the month was, or something that we had been talking about, we had a GAC meeting on March 16th, and this was our first one in about 2 years. We were hoping to have an interim GAC meeting May 18th, I believe, in order to address the issue relating to our bylaws and GAC members who are appointed, who are not elected officials, still being able to have a vote. We were hoping to be able to do that, and we reached out to our municipalities and had a lot of excitement and interest in this meeting for May 18th. However, I have been told to not move forward with scheduling this meeting, so I want to know if that's something. So we haven't formally canceled it yet. Because again, this is something that we've had municipalities reach out to us and ask for agenda items to be added to this specific agenda. This is something that, like I said, we've received a lot of interest in. So even if not for the sake of moving forward with making changes to the bylaws, I think this is still a good meeting to have because this is where we are planning to establish work groups and subcommittees for the GAC to work on or work through in the future. And canceling this meeting would leave a big gap between now in September where nothing is getting done and there is no follow-up. So I'm asking if we are canceling our May meeting for GAC for it to be on the record, but also for us to potentially have something rescheduled between now and our September meeting so that we can address these concerns. So if it's not the right time for us to update the bylaws and make that change, I'd still like us to be able to do the other things that we were hoping to do with this meeting.
Well, who said to cancel? Yeah.
Well, the executive committee said that it was short notice for us to do that, to have the meeting. We didn't say we'd going back not to have a meeting prior to September, but to have it. We felt it was very short notice, just knowing that we've had some of the quorum issues, but there is a need for a meeting.
I think you need to have.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think you need to have it as scheduled on the 18th because the whole issue that was brought up at the last meeting that the commissioners were at was that we haven't been able to get a quorum We haven't been able to get a quorum,
Okay.
although many municipalities can send a representative, and by a simple change of the bylaws, that's the only thing we do on the 18th, to be able to facilitate a municipality to send an authorized representative so that we make the quorum. If that's the only piece of business on the 18th, we should still do it. That's my opinion.
Additionally, and this is just an additional piece of information for us to consider, it was brought up at the GAC meeting, a question whether GAC and our stormwater committee that's supposed to be another appointed part of GAC, if this was duplicating a lot of the same work as the ISC. I believe that it is. I don't know if this is an opportunity to talk about more coordination with the ISC, potentially expanding the ISC to include, and that's not maybe a discussion for here, to include additional municipalities, or for municipalities to have the opportunity to participate in some of those meetings, although I know that they have the opportunity, they just choose not to participate in them. So something that we send out to our municipalities is an appointment for a stormwater committee, and all of our municipalities appoint someone to that committee, which is supposed to be run by GAC. If this committee is doing the same thing as functionally what the ISC is doing, I either see us having to create a bridge between that committee and ISC in order for that to function, or for us to, again, maybe have a further discussion with ISC on what those responsibilities look like for us, because as we're kind of fleshing out the Act 167 plan, this is something that's like an immediate need as a stormwater committee. And again, if that's something that, I don't want to reinvent the wheel if we don't have to, and trying to get people who are already on one committee to show up to another meeting for the exact same thing is not what I would like to do.
I think it's worthy of a discussion. The only caveat is the ISC is made up of only 9 MS4 communities. So the board is only, representing those 9 municipalities.
Yes, I just mean encouraging our members to attend the meetings. I don't necessarily mean serve on the.
I think there's a good conversation for, collaboration.
So going back to GAC on the 18th, what the time would be at 6:30?
I believe so.
Yeah,
That was the
6:30.
previous announced time was 6:30. So it'd be
Yes,
the-
at the Margaret Avenue.
and it would be at the
Margaret Avenue Training Center.
okay, that's fine.
Is your intent to have changes to the bylaw? That was our confusion on the executive board, was we were gonna have a meeting, but no preparation as to whether there was what changes to the bylaws. But what I'm hearing now is, are we gonna just establish a committee at that GAC to address the bylaws, or are we gonna make changes to the
I
bylaws?
believe what we asked the staff to do was to develop a proposed change to the bylaws as we discussed.
No. So Dave was preparing a proposal for, and I believe, well, what he said was that he was in communication with our solicitor regarding changes to the bylaws. I don't know if that's true. And if there are not changes to be made, or if the changes are not ready for that meeting, once again, there are still other agenda items that need to happen, even if that item is not addressed. But everyone is attending that meeting to address that item, because it was brought up at our last GAC
Is that
meeting.
timeline too soon for you to look at the specific portion of the bylaw that delegates voting members, and to expand that, adding the language or your appointed representative?
Yeah, it's it's certainly enough time to take a look, and it sounds like a simple enough change. The only variable I don't know offhand is whether the bylaws themselves require a specific timeline for changes to the bylaws. But that's something we can look at very soon. For example, in some cases, organizations' bylaws may say that if you're going to change the bylaws, the members must be given notice 30 days in advance. And so if the bylaws say that, I'm not saying they do, but I'm saying if there's some requirement like that we're already passed, then I don't know. If you're asking me from a workload standpoint, can we look at the bylaws before mid-May? Sure.
I don't think there's anything in there,
No,
but
I
there's.
think it's pretty
there's a
simple.
These are the
copy.
GAC
Yeah.
bylaws. Really small.
Yeah, I think it would, that was our concern, was we would have a meeting and we wouldn't be prepared for the meeting with the bylaw changes, and then we would have a bunch of municipal executives in the room and us saying, well, what are we here to do? So we need to get those changes proposed so they can be voted on at that night.
I don't think there's a time requirement, and we were looking at Article 4 about membership and voting power, and amending that by adding another paragraph authorizing a municipality in lieu of an elected official to vote and appoint a representative that has the authority to vote or speak on behalf of that municipality. So it'd be a simple one paragraph addition.
I think it actually could be, just, I'm looking at this kind of quickly here, almost a deletion. The last two sentences of Article 4, Section 1 could just be deleted. Those sentences read, each representative shall be an elected official of the local governing body which he represents to the committee, preferably the appointee will hold the highest elected public office. I think you could delete those two sentences and just leave Section 1 as each of the units of the local government throughout Blair County is eligible for membership on the committee. The governing body of each unit of local government within Blair County shall appoint one representative to serve on the committee, period. And then that's it.
There it is.
And I'm looking, I don't see a requirement in here that that notice be given to members in any particular amount of time. I'll keep looking here, but it does appear that timeline, to your question, is feasible.
Would you draft that motion, Mr. Solicitor, and get it to the acting director for
Certainly.
the agenda?
You're thinking about a motion for the GAC voting agenda? Yeah.
To amend the bylaws.
Could that be something then that could be sent out then to the municipalities so they are aware of that ahead of time and then
Yes.
they know to move that
Yep.
to attend
That
or
would be
be able to state that at the meeting to vote?
And it gives them another incentive for, this is why we want you to come to the meeting.
Right.
That's all I have for my report.
Anything else on that? Pat's still scanning, but if not, we'll move ahead. Mackenzie, anything else on your report?
Nope, that's everything.
No? Okay. All right. And then we'll move on to item 17, Planning Commissioners Forum. And I'd like to start off under that item with a request for a motion to amend today's agenda with several items, and I'd like to go through those items at this time. I'd like the motion to include an item to accept the resignation of the executive director. I would like an item to be included to have an appointment of an interim acting director, executive director. We would also have an item for requesting DCED to conduct a review of the Planning Commission, and that item agenda item would actually ask the county commissioners to send a letter to DCED to make that request. And then also we have another item, our treasurer is going to resign from the treasurer position, but not from the commission. And then we'll have also need to replace the treasurer. So first off, I'm asking for a motion to amend today's agenda to add these items. Do I have a motion? Can we please wait a second?
Just clarify that the first item includes a motion to accept a resignation and
Along with, and approve a separation agreement to go along with that, yes, thank you.
I move to amend the agenda thusly.
Second it.
Okay, We have a motion properly made and seconded to add several items to the agenda. And again, those items are as I reviewed. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, so let's go on with the first item on the amendment. We need a motion to accept, go ahead.
We're going to take public comment on those items since they
Oh,
were
thank
not
you,
on
forgot
the.
the public comment, thank you. Okay.
If there is any.
No, any public comment at this time? Thank you. If there's no public comment, then let's move ahead with consideration of those additional agenda items. The first one would be to have a motion to accept effective April 30 today, 2026, the resignation of David McFarland, Executive Director, and the approving with the resignation a separation agreement.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion properly made and seconded. Any additional comments? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, motion approved. The second item, we would like to have a motion to appoint an interim executive acting director, and that person will also assist the planning commission in a search for replacement of the executive director. We're asking Rodney Green to be approved as the interim acting director.
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion properly made and seconded. Any other comments? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And a third item, we need a motion to have our county commissioners send a letter to request DCED to conduct a review of our overall planning commission process and protocols and come back to us with a recommendation report.
Motion, we ask the commissioners to write that letter.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion properly made and seconded to, again, have the county commissioners send a letter to DCED to conduct a review process, and again, we'll provide the commissioners with additional information for that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And then we also have, as an additional item, resignation of Rodney Estep as the Planning Commission Treasurer.
I make that motion.
Second it. Just as a matter of comment, when I took that position, there was only 3 seated board members. My time commitment and availability does not lend for the amount of hours that are needed for that. And there's other people on this board with specialized financial background in planning that I would defer to.
So we have a motion properly made and seconded to accept the resignation of Rodney Estep as treasurer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And we would need a motion now to also nominate an individual for new treasurer.
I move to appoint Jessica Sheets as the treasurer of the
I'll second that
Blair County
nomination.
Planning Commission Executive Committee.
All right, so we have a nomination. Any others? If not, do we have a motion to approve that nomination of Jessica Sheets as treasurer for the Planning Commission? Okay. Thank you. We have a motion made, second?
Second.
Okay, and properly seconded. So we have a motion properly made, seconded to appoint Jessica Sheets as treasurer for the Blair County Planning Commission Board. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. All right. Any additional information or business under Planning Commission form? Okay, if not, item 18, any questions from the media?
Yeah, a couple. So did David give any reason for his resignation?
No.
just submitted a resignation, there's no reason.
That's our understanding. He asked to resign from the position.
Okay, I just wanted to double check. Gee, the main question, well, you're acting executive director, and Mackenzie is
Is he
acting.
still, she was, initially we approved
Acting
her
trainer.
as an assistant to the director. Assistant, yes,
So her official title as of today is,
Regional planner.
regional planner, and she'll also serve as an assistant to the executive director,
which is gonna be you.
which would be me at this time, interim.
Right.
And we're immediately initiating a process to search and hopefully hire a replacement for Mr. McFarland.
So how do you feel about taking over this position?
I don't know yet.
It's a fine
Find out.
answer. Okay. That's fine.
Well, I'll just say that in the capacity I offered to the board that I'd be willing to help out and assist in the search for a new director. That's something that I do in my consulting work. So I have experience in that area, and as well as we need to, again, provide additional support to our staff in that interim period.
Thank you. I'm good. That's,
Okay, all right, thank you.
thank you.
All right, other announcements. We have a number of announcements on your agenda. I'll just, again, they're up on the screen here for you to see. If anyone has any questions about those, and we discussed already the GAC meeting. Anything else for the good of the cause here? Any questions about any of those items? Okay. If not, do I have a motion for adjournment?
Make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Second, we have a motion properly made and seconded for adjournment. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Which
Today's meeting is adjourned.
one seconded? I didn't.
Pete?